Let me raise big questions though that widen the debate from what we heard from Mr. Chari. What is RSS's role in independent India and indeed in the independent movement? Is it building the nation or dividing society? What is the RSS's concept of a Hindu Rashtra? As I said, the RSS's role in freedom fight, false history. But what explains the RSS's endurance and its rise today? Joining me now, Sudhendra Kulkarni, activist and columnist, someone who was associated with the Vajpayee government particularly closely. Mridula Mukherjee is historian. I appreciate both of you joining us. Let me come to you, Sudhendra Kulkarni. I've been reading a piece you've just written for Frontline magazine, where you've said the challenge for the RSS is to ensure that it is less exclusionary. You want to explain what you mean by that?
What I mean by that is that the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh is essentially a Hindu nationalist organization. But it has to confront the fact that India is multi-religious and there are non-Hindus in fairly large numbers, especially Muslims. Now, so far, Muslims have not been part of the mainstream of the RSS, even though in recent years they have established a wing called Muslim Rashtriya Manch. But that's a marginal organization. Now, over the years, RSS has been grappling with the Muslim question in ways that has both positives and negatives. I would like to highlight the positive aspect because, we cannot understand the RSS only if we focus on the positives or only if we focus on the negatives. The main criticism of the RSS is that it is anti-Muslim. There is some truth to it, but there is also another side to it. Over the years, the top leaders of the RSS, including the Sarsang Chalak, they have been making efforts to reach out to Muslims. And this has been going on from the days of Guruji Golwalkar, the second and the longest serving Sarsang Chalak of the RSS, right up to Dr. Mohan Bhagwat now. Dr. Mohan Bhagwat, as we all know, has been making efforts to reach out to Muslims. He's had series of meetings with Muslim religious, social leaders. Now, going back to Golwalkar, Golwalkar made some truly revealing statements on Muslims, which unfortunately the critics are not paying attention to. I would like to highlight one specific thing. In 1972, he was interviewed by the legendary editor Khushwant Singh of the Illustrated Weekly of India. And Khushwant Singh asked him, what do you think of the Muslim issue? Golwalkar says that I am of the firm view that it is only because of historical reasons that a certain alienation has arisen between Hindus and Muslims, for which he says both Muslims and Hindus are responsible. Further, he said that it is wrong to hold the entire community responsible for the wrongdoings of some people belonging to that community. He also said that I am confident that both Hindutva and Islam can coexist harmoniously in India. Similarly, Dr. Mohan Bhagwat has recently said that anyone who says that Islam has no place in India is not a Hindu. He's called it sin. It is sin against Hinduism. So let us take these positive aspects of the RSS, build on it. I am a firm proponent of dialogue between the RSS and its critics, dialogue between RSS and Muslims, dialogue between RSS and the Congress. This alone can unite our society and overcome the absolutely debilitating divisions that have taken place in our polity.
We can selectively quote both Golwalkar and Bhagwat. There are positive aspects and there are other statements also that they have made over the years, which are interpreted very differently. But Mridula Mukherjee, you heard Sudhendra Kulkarni saying the time has come for a dialogue between the critics of the RSS and the RSS. How do you respond to that? Have the left historians in particular demonized the RSS from day one and therefore don't look at perhaps some of the more positive aspects of the RSS's work in terms of social service during flood relief? Do they only focus on its anti-Muslim stance that emerges from time to time?
You know, I'm not here as a spokesperson for any left historians. You're asking me a concrete question, I'll give you a concrete answer.
Please do.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, this imputing of, you know, certain notions, etc., I think let's get away from that. First question you asked was about, is a dialogue desirable? Is it possible? Well, I think in any democratic society, who can be against the idea of a dialogue? I think obviously, I mean, as Indians, we would like this society. It is a plural society. There are many points of view represented in it. And if a dialogue can bring about change and coming together of different sections of society, I said, who can stand in the way of it? But the issue is not of certain statements made by certain leaders at different points in time. As we know, we can, as you just said, we can quote one statement, I can quote another, and we could go on. The issue is what is happening at the level of practice. You look at India today, in which the RSS obviously exercises enormous influence. And if we don't accept that, we are just, I think, not being honest over this government and what's going on in different parts of the country. Is India not getting more and more polarized and divided every day? The language I read in the newspapers shocks me and pains me when I hear the Chief Minister of UP yesterday and the last 3 days issuing the kind of threats he is issuing by name to Muslims, you know, as a community, where there's bulldozing going on against the you know, law laid down by the Supreme Court. I mean, what do I do with just pious statements? That's, look at it from the point of view of somebody who could be a victim or even somebody who's a scholar or a citizen. I think we have to go beyond that. And if we want to go to the period before independence, since you asked me, that is it left historians who from the beginning have vilified the RSS, I'm sorry. The people who have understood from the beginning what RSS ideology is and have opposed it, left historians, leftists, they were all marginal forces. Forget them. It is the Indian National Congress and its foremost leaders, Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, Maulana Azad, Sardar Patel, you can name it. All of them knew and opposed the politics and the ideology of the RSS and the Hindu Mahasabha. So there was the freedom movement on one side and Hindu Mahasabha RSS on the other, and the Muslim League. So there were communalists and there were nationalists. I think if we forget this distinction, and of course if we forget the whole design of the British from the middle of the 19th century to divide the people of India along religious lines to perpetuate their rule, and if we don't see both the communalists, Muslim and Hindu, as falling prey to that, we don't understand Indian history and we don't understand the freedom struggle. As far as the RSS role in freedom struggle is concerned, let me spend just half a minute on that, since Sheshadri Chariji did speak on that. I think, you know, just by giving examples of Hedgewar going to jail in 1932, I mean, in 1930 in the civil disobedience movement, I mean, we all know these facts. The fact is that Hedgewar said RSS will not join the civil disobedience movement. He left his position as Sangh Chalak and said, I will join not the civil disobedience movement launched by Gandhiji, I will start a forest satyagraha. At the same time, I will also go to jail. And it was also said, I will go to jail because I'll be able to influence the youth who are in that jail. RSS workers in their individual capacity could join. Now tell me, if you are a militant nationalist organization wanting to fight the British, wanting to unite all Indians, why would you do all this fine tuning? You know, we will not.
The Prime Minister, Ms. Mukherjee, the Prime Minister, Ms. Mukherjee, today said that the RSS participated in the Quit India movement. He said the RSS was in that the RSS opposed the British.
What can I say? I mean, there are facts on one side, there are British records on one side, there are archival records, there are home political files, there are evidences. I mean, historians and others have quoted chapter and verse. So, Prime Minister is free to not accept the facts of history. What can I do about it? I have my understanding as a historian of history. It doesn't have to match that of the Prime Minister of India. He has his opinion, I have mine.
You know, in a sense, Sudhendra Kulkarni, is the RSS in a way trying to erase its past? It's very convenient. One day you say you're a cultural organization, one day you say you're charitable, one day you're saying political. Today I had Seshadri Chari on my show saying we are not political at all. I mean, does the RSS also have to come clean on what exactly does the RSS, what exactly is the RSS then? If one day you're political, one day you're cultural, one day you're social, see, is that also part? They've got to be more transparent. They've got to be more accountable.
Politics and political power is at the very heart and the center of the RSS agenda. There is simply no denying this. Otherwise, two Pracharaks would not have become Prime Minister, and even after becoming Prime Minister, they have praised the RSS, both Vajpayee ji and Narendra Modi today. So that's not an issue we should spend too much time on. What I would like to clarify, Rajdeep, is that harmony in our society, unity in our society, national integration is of utmost importance. And this is where the RSS, as the foremost Hindu organization, has a responsibility it cannot shy away from. There is a certain gap between kathni and karni. What it says and what it allows things to happen are two different things. We all know there are some really positive things, good things that RSS leaders have spoken from time to time about Muslims and the need for dialogue with Muslims, integration of Muslims on an equal basis. At the same time, the reality on the ground is quite different. Today,
that's precisely the point. What's the use of a dialogue in an abstract in a seminar room when you've got the Bajrang Dal, which will then lead campaigns against Muslims in the name of Gaur Rakshaks, when you will have bulldozer action that takes place, when you will have the normalization of hate speech. I mean, it's all very well to say we want a dialogue and then resort to constant vilification, demonization of Muslims.
Rajdeep, this issue is quite complex and it has historical roots. We cannot either understand or overcome this problem without looking at it in its totality. Had India not been partitioned on the basis of the poisonous two-nation theory advanced by the Muslim League, had Pakistan not been Islamized and completely reduced the Hindu community, the Sikh community to second-grade citizens, had they not promoted Islamic extremism, things in India would have been different and RSS would not have been so strong as it is today. And therefore, this issue has to be seen in its totality. Now, there is no organization, I repeat, there is not a single organization in India, whether it is the Congress, the Communists, or the RSS, BJP, which is faultless. They all have their sins. The reason I am advocating dialogue is that the only way to go forward is to take up what is good in every organization and build on that. Otherwise, we will go towards civil war.
Okay, your point is taken. Let me therefore give a final word to you, Mridula Mukherjee. You raised your finger. Here you've got Sudhendra Kulkarni saying, let's take the best of each organization. Let's not look at the worst.
I mean, as I said, who can disagree with such fine sentiments? I mean, I can't disagree with that, can I? It's like mom and apple pie or whatever is the phrase. But I wanted to make a comment on what Mr. Kulkarni said a little earlier about the historical background. I mean, we are all aware what the Muslim League did, how India got partitioned, what has happened. But are we to remain trapped in that? Are we to become victims of what has happened before independence and what Pakistan has done to itself? We say we are 10 times the GDP of Pakistan. We are a secular country. Look at our constitution. So more than 75 years ago, we've gone far ahead of what Pakistan is. Why should we remain trapped in that? That cannot be a justification for what we are doing to ourselves now. Why do we want to now become a Hindu Pakistan? Is that what
So
we
what,
want to become?
what then?
Is
So
that
what
the
if
future
we
for
don't
us?
want to become a Hindu Pakistan, but the fact is the RSS today has huge traction. The fact is the BJP has huge traction. What does that suggest in conclusion, Mridula Mukherjee? Has India changed?
The way I look upon it, the way I assess things is that from the late 80s onwards, from emergency days when they first came back into respectability, and then from the late 80s with the Ram Janmabhoomi movement and all that, the RSS at the core of it and BJP as the political kind of representative, they have ridden a certain course and they have done various things have happened which have brought them into prominence in Indian politics. I do not, however, believe, like many people do, many of my colleagues believe, that this also means that there has been a total transformation, at least of the so-called Hindu mind. I think that there are vast majority, including among Hindus, who for various reasons have voted for the BJP. One doesn't vote only on a single issue. There are so many issues and there are labhartis now and doles being given here and this being happening there. So, and I think there are large parts of the country where that ideology doesn't hold sway, where that politics doesn't hold sway. There are large sections of the people. Look what happened in the Kisan movement in 1921. Punjab, has it bought into this ideology? Has Tamil Nadu, has Kerala, has Bengal? It's a question of how you look at it. If you look at it from the heartlet, you sit in Delhi only, hear what's happening in UP or Rajasthan or Madhya Pradesh, you get a certain picture. So I believe as a historian that in fact the impulse of Indian history is in the direction of diversity, pluralism, secularism.
Okay.
And that RSS and its ideology is actually a diversion from it.
Sudhendra Kulkarni, I'll give you 30 seconds.
And we
I
will
have
come
no
back
more
to our
time.
mooring.
I want to make one
30
final
seconds.
point, Rajdeep.
Yes.
In order not to get trapped in the past, we should not remain prisoners of the past. In order to create a new future for India and for the whole of South Asia, we have to move towards Hindu-Muslim harmonization and the inevitable other side of it, that is India-Pakistan normalization. The time has come when Pakistan has to change, India has to change, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, all of us have to come together. And that is, in fact, it goes to the Akhand Bharat concept. All those who were opposed to partition of India should now work towards reuniting the subcontinent.
Sudhendra, that's another debate which
Union.
That's another debate for another day. Our focus today was on the RSS, its role. I'm going to leave it at that. But I appreciate listening to a variety of viewpoints. The diversity that we try on this program is the diversity I hope that we see on the streets of India. It's really the people of India who are the ones who need to embrace that diversity in the truest sense. And maybe the RSS needs to tell us how they are going to promote diversity in the truest sense. I appreciate my guests joining me on the show tonight.